Hey guys, this is Ben with AWKWA, Arizona Windsurfing, Kiteboarding, and Wingfoiling Association. So one of the questions that I get most often is, which wind app or website do I like to use the most, particularly at Lake Pleasant, where we, as viewers of this channel know, happen to do most of our sailing. So in this video, I'm going to basically answer the question of which app or apps or sites that I use, in addition to kind of at least going through what my particular process is, um, as well as some other uh, considerations to be mindful of or to be aware of. With all that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. The short answer, for those of you who, if this is too long and you don't want to wait till the end, I don't have a one app or one site that I take as gospel. There is no, in my opinion, there is no best one. So, in place of that, I just end up using several. Even though technically it's a physical science, it's definitely more art than science, in my opinion. So, um, with that said, the main and I am recording my screen here. I usually more often than not I'll actually use the apps, and just about all of these I believe that I'm about to show you here come in app version, with the exception of the um, NWS, which is you can obviously you can it's a website, so you can access it by way of your phone, but there is no, at least that I know of, no dedicated app. So just for ease of recording, I am going to just do this on my screen, and you can leave it to you guys to download the specific apps and play around with those. So my bread and butter one, as you see here on the screen, is Windy. There actually is a dedicated Windy app, but there are actually two of them. Okay, so it's very confusing. Um, so there's a Windy, which has this kind of logo, red logo here. I call it Windy Red sometimes. And then there is the Windy.app. So there are two different things, but I use primarily Windy Red. I also use Windy.app or Windy Blue, but I use Windy Blue far less than the main Windy Red. In addition to that, I will also use windsurf, which is a very popular application slash website. I will also use Windfinder, as well as what I mentioned before, the National Weather Service. Okay, now let's talk about what my general routine is. So again, as I mentioned, my main go-to is Windy or Windy Red, and at least when you fire up the website, um, it automatically, by default, goes to the ECMWF model, which I don't put a lot of stock in, just to get it out of the way. My favorite models typically are in order of preference, I'd say NAM, then GFS, and then HRRR. They all tend to be a little bit more US centric, I guess. Anyways, all of these apps, I believe, yeah, all of these apps have a paid version as well as a just free version. What you're looking at right now is I'm actually a premium member of Windy, and I just chose to do that just because it does have a lot of kind of neat features that I do use. Anyways, as I said, I fire up Windy. It automatically defaults to the ECM, which I don't like, so I will usually switch it right away to NAM. In this basic mode, in 3-hour increments, it allows me, especially when I hit, now I don't know if this is available on the free version. It used to be, but I don't think it is anymore. It allows you to look out to 11 days. Anyway, so as you can see, you can look out pretty far um, out to like 11 days just to kind of see what might be coming along. So of this, of everything I see here, um, uh, Tuesday is looking kind of interesting. All right. Okay, so I forgot to talk about my favorite feature of Windy, particularly the paid version. That is, well, it's really two things. The main one is that you can click on Wind here, and then you get a, not to say a side by side, but a stacked representation of all of the model. You know, comparison at a glance, basically, as to what they say. Ideally, everybody's in agreement. I tend to now, after being um, several seasons now of going out there, going all the way out there and getting skunked, I have now taken to following the most conservative of the three models, which I believe is, I tend to say is NAM. Go. The other feature of Windy, paid, I don't know if the free version allows you to do this, it's been a while. You can toggle it to the 1 hour, so you can see kind of hour by hour what's going on or what it's going to do. Let's see if Tuesday shows up yet. No, not quite yet. I will also look and fire up the other sites, for example, iWindsurf, which actually does have a Lake Pleasant South reading, which is kind of nice. I use the free version, which most people do. And it allows you to look out not so much 11 days, but it allows you to look a little bit like a week down the line. And just kind of see, kind of based upon its blend model, which I think is okay. It tends to be pretty conservative, which is actually a good thing. And the reason for that is that um, if the iWindsurf blend is showing something completely going off on that day, that's probably a pretty good sign because, like I said, um, it tends to err on the side of like not sending you out there. Um, and so I kind of look at that for long range, and then I also go to this is Windfinder, and again, Windfinder I think it uses the same GFS data, so it's Lake Pleasant as well. And this one also gives me a, I guess this would be 11 days as well. No, not quite. But anyways, it kind of gives, at least on the website version anyways, a nice picture of what might be coming along down the pike. And last but not least, I will sometimes utilize the National Weather Service site, which I found it by, just so you know, I found it by just doing a Google search for Lake Pleasant and then NWS, and it's like the first search result to come up. And so if you see a page that looks like this, you're in the right spot. And it gives a kind of a long-term forecast as well, out to 7 days. What would that be? Yeah, 7 days. And so, and it gives, for those of people who don't like to read, it gives a graphical representation of what's going on. So here, actually, it's, if you were to rely on this, it's showing Tuesday and Wednesday as potentials. But what I also like about NWS for the geeks out there and the geek in me, you can click on the forecast graph, and it's got the little wind pennants or wind flags right here. It's this second from the top chart that I usually focus on. And okay, so that's what I do for long range forecasts. As things get closer to the the favorable day, I will then, either the day before or day of, I'll take a closer look at the 1 hour, just to kind of see, when things will be the sauciest or the spiciest, and kind of just plan to be out there an hour or so ahead of that. All right, so on the topic of, while we're here on the iWindsurf website at least, and you can do this actually a little bit easier, I think, on the app. So this has been kind of a game changer. It was right under my nose this whole time. I just didn't know what I was looking at. But what it is, or what I've taken to doing now, again, just because I've been shut out or skunked so many times in the past couple seasons. And so this is the iWindsurf Lake Pleasant South. This is the graph. Okay, so on the website, this is what it looks like. I've clicked on graph. And as you can probably guess, the blue lines represent wind, whereas the red represent gusts. And it refreshes it's calculated, the data set comes in at 15-minute increments. And while it's not perfect, if things are trending right and they are mirroring what I see in windy, then that's probably enough for me, particularly if the forecast is for a nice day. That's probably enough for me to have the green light to just go ahead and get in my car and go. Again, it's not an exact science. It's by no means foolproof, but what I love about going about it this way is that it really helps cut down on the obvious shutout or skunk days. So, okay, lastly, I just want to kind of talk about certain, I guess, yeah, seasonal or climate kind of considerations. There are just some times of the year or certain instances when these models, no matter how much we would love to rely on them, just kind of go out the window. The main one that comes to mind is the monsoon season here in Arizona, which can be anywhere from, I don't know, middle of June to all the way through September, or sometimes even October. During those times, particularly when the monsoon really is in effect, has arrived to here in the valley, you will see some very, very odd looking numbers. Mainly a clue that something is off is particularly on windy blue. Yeah, there's no example, but anyways, what you will see, a good tip-off is in these models, you will see I call it an inversion, but basically where the base wind, the top number, is maybe it's easier to see this way. Yeah, the top number is actually higher than the gust. So it's like a negative gust. So that's usually a pretty darn good clue that something is just hanky. The other instance where you see this phenomenon is during storm fronts. If not storms themselves, you'll get really, really weird predictions or readings. And so, like, again, those are just some things to keep in mind, so that you don't overly rely on these forecasts during certain either certain times of year or certain atmospheric conditions. Okay, guys, and that is my overview of the best wind app or apps or websites for here in Arizona. Really do appreciate you watching. Would love to get your feedback, those of you particularly who are locals or even wherever you are in the world, which app or which resource you like and why, and or maybe what you found to be the most accurate. If you like this video and you found it helpful, we sure would appreciate it if you would hit that little like button down at the bottom, as well as feel free to subscribe to our channel, the official AWKWA YouTube channel, to be notified of the latest content and videos to be uploaded. Until next time, this is Ben with AWKWA, wishing you good winds and happy sailing.